All right, good evening, everyone. Let me just get rid of that PowerPoint slide I had up. Oops.
Professor, did you get the chat remark I sent you?
My chat is not open yet. Let me open it up.
I just wanted to make sure you got that, that's all.
Okay, thanks. Okay. All right, let me just check one thing here before I get started. All right. So tonight we're going to talk about speeches for special occasions. But before we do that, let me just talk a little bit about where we are and where we're headed. So the informative speeches, I informed there were a couple people who hadn't had them posted yet. I know somebody needed a hand with compressing video and all that, so we took care of that. So I'm hopeful that I will get through all those videos by the end of tomorrow. So you should have your feedback on your informative speech by the end of tomorrow. And then, of course, by the end of tomorrow, you need to have your persuasive speech preparation outlines done for your teams, and I will be grading those on Friday. Okay, so again, you only need, like the working outline, you only need one post per team. In fact, I'm going to try to get your teams organized in Blackboard. So unlike the working outline where only one person got the actual feedback and the rest of you just got the grade, hopefully everybody gets the same thing. So you'll be able to see the post that your peers put up, and you'll be able to see my feedback. Everybody will be able to access the document and the feedback. Okay. After Friday, that's pretty much it. I'm out. So, like I said, I just don't know if I'll have good internet access while I'm overseas. I have put my email on my phone and have scheduled to have international access on my phone. So if you have a real emergency or a real important thing you need to contact me about, you should be able to reach me by email. I think that's what I've laid out so far anyway, so I can try. Next week, of course, is just your practice week. I think what I'm going to do, I only had one team so far. I'm just looking at the spreadsheet here of the teams. I've only had one team so far contact me for a private Zoom room. So I think what I'm going to do, what I did in their case, and it seemed to work, is I sent out an invitation that they were able to use the links from and make get a conference room like this in Zoom, but only for the team. And then I took their link and I pasted it in the Google Doc where their team is located. I think what I'm going to do is make a Zoom room for each team and paste that in the Google Doc. So if you didn't save a link for that, it's in in the Week 8 folder. Just go to your Persuasive Speech Teams page and you can pick it up from there. This way you don't have to worry about scheduling something with me via email or something. Just go to the sheet. You'll have your own unique link to your own private Zoom room. Okay,
Professor,
any questions on that? Yeah, Adam.
Yeah, that Zoom link worked great the first time.
Mm-hmm.
We went to reuse it again the other day, and it didn't work for us. So I don't know if that's something that has to be scheduled every time.
It shouldn't be. I know in the past I scheduled it once, and that was all it needed. There is let me take a look at something here while I have the conference going. No, I can't look at that now. Let's see.
Yeah, we wound up using Google Hangouts, which worked really good.
Yeah, but the screen, how's the screen share work on Google Hangouts?
Actually pretty good because I wound up having to use it. Yeah.
I'm just concerned that you be able to use the environment that you're going to be in the following week.
Right.
So I'm not discouraging from using Zoom, from using Google Hangouts. I'm glad you were resourceful and did that. I'd just like to be able to have you use the environment you're going to be in so you can practice everything just the way you're going to do it. I'm looking at the settings that I used to create your meeting link.
Yeah, it just kept coming up with this post saying that it was scheduled for the 12th at 8 p.m. When we were trying to do it yesterday, and just like no
Okay.
room popped up.
So it wouldn't, so I've got, hold on one second here. Yeah, I've got a button here to make it a reoccurring meeting, but I think that's reoccurring at the same time. So I don't know if that would really suit you well. So I'm going to be talking to Mercer online tomorrow about this, and I'll see what I can straighten out with Zoom. Because it used to be that you could use the link anytime, so I guess they reined that in a bit. Maybe people were using it more than they would prefer. So I'll check into that. But I'll put a private, well, then that private link won't work unless we have a scheduled meeting. So I just want to try to avoid, with me being away, you having to schedule with me. So I know Google Hangouts can work. The only other thing I could think of is if you wanted to schedule a particular day, so if your class is on Wednesday, then maybe Monday we make a night where everybody can come in and use the breakout rooms. That's not the way I'd like to do it, because I'm sure all of you have busy lives and have other things to do. I'd rather you be able to do it on your schedule. So let me see what I can find out tomorrow, and then I'll email everyone what we'll need to work out. Okay, it might be that you'll just have to plan something for next week with your partners, get me a meeting time, and then I'll set it up for that particular time. You can rehearse in something like Google Hangouts or Skype in the meantime, and then on that particular date and time next week, go ahead and do your practice and be able to practice with the tools you'll be using in your final speech night. Okay, so we'll work something out. Any other questions?
Yeah. Could you give like a general breakdown of what is going to happen up until the last day of class, and including the last day? Just general, like.
Sure. So
Yeah.
tonight we're going to talk about special occasion speeches. Did everybody get a chance to look at the speech I posted in the folder? Okay, I'm seeing a lot of nods. Good. Did you see that recently? Okay, good. So we'll talk about that tonight. We'll do some impromptu special occasion speeches tonight. And then next week will be up to you to coordinate with your team to get in practice, get your speech outlines, your speaking outlines done, get into practice, and make sure you're a well-oiled machine by the time the following week rolls around. Then on Wednesday, what is that, 8/1, I believe? Yeah, on Wednesday, 8/1, we'll meet in here and you'll do your final presentations. After your final persuasive speeches are done, we'll have a brief interlude for people to prep, and anyone who's owing an impromptu speech will have the opportunity to make up one impromptu speech. So if you're out more than one, you can only make up one of them, but you'll have that opportunity. And then we'll call it a night. Now, as far as the pieces that are left to be done, if we look at, let me bring this up and do a screen share. Let's see, lessons. Week 9. Restart the recording. There we go. So what we're going to do is we'll go through the impromptu speeches, and then I just want to talk a little bit more about your upcoming persuasive speech and take a look at some persuasive strategies, and then we'll call it a night. So I think what we'll do is we'll just go in the order of the teams. So team 1, Deep and Vincent, you guys are first up. And which one of you is speaking first?
I am.
Okay, Deep. Everyone else, please mute, because if we make any noise, of course, we steal the video from the speaker, and we don't want that happening. So And same as if you're a team member, as you're all going at the same time, if you don't want to stay muted, just make sure you stay quiet. So again, we don't steal the video and the recording from the speaker. Okay? All right, guys, anytime you're ready.
Okay. Today, we're here to congratulate the Best Intern Award to Vincent Morency here at the Moritz Law Group. He's been with us for a good month, and trust me, everyone loves him. This award was very hard to give, and I mean very hard, especially when the competition was him and Lazy Johnny, Mr. Sleeping Beauty, who does nothing but sleep at his desk. Anyways, I present to you Vincent Morency.
Dip, what can I say? This comes as a complete shocker to me. I am not only honored, but I am very grateful for this award. I have so many people to thank, but first I want to thank my two legs for getting me to work every day. I don't know what I'd do without them. I also want to thank Lazy Johnny for so obviously taking a snooze on the job day in and day out. I don't know how you make me look so good, bud. I also want to thank the attorneys, Francis and Ben. You know who you are, and all that paperwork you give me to file. Oh, I love it. I also just want to say that this award, although I've been here for a month, it's been one of the best months of my life, and I can't wait to work here for 2 more weeks because my 2-week notice is on your desk. Thank you.
God. That was funny.
So you went 1 minute and 20 seconds with Deep, you going about 35, I think it was, and the balance going to Vincent. So good job with that on the time. And I think you hit all the things I was looking for, the structure, the content, good throw to the next speaker, a good close. The only thing I think, Deep, you could have probably stretched your vocal variety envelope a little bit. So just keep in mind to work on that. So let me shoot you your scores real quick. Let's see, Deep. And where's Vincent on my list? There you are. All right, good job, guys. Okay, next, Adam and Ozzy. Who's speaking first?
I'm going first.
Okay, whenever you're ready.
Tonight's prestigious award is held by the likes of people such as Phil Heathmeyer and Trey Anastasia. Tonight's recipient story begins with Terra Environmental Research Institute, where he was a 4-year All-Star and All-State of 2015. An underdog of the 2020 draft, picked in the 30th round at the Miami University, the U, with a master's degree in business administration, called up from the minors to face Aaron Nola in the 8th inning, down 3 runs to 2. He had a walk-off home run, winning the game and sealing his fate of his 11 years in the majors. It is my distinct privilege to give to you tonight's Lifetime Athletic Achievement Award of the New York Yankees, ladies and gentlemen, Ozzie Miller.
I first want to say thank you. I'm very grateful and honored for receiving such a prestigious award. I want to thank the school, Mercer County Community College, because these 2 years that I spent here actually gave me the stepping stones of where I'm at today. I never knew that I was going to make it to the big leagues, but thanks to Coach Kearns and Coach Corella from Mercer County, they believed in me and pushed me, and therefore they got me where I wanted to go. And for you Philly fans, I'm very sorry for hitting a home run off of Aaron Nola, but I had to do it to him. Thank you very much. Have a good night.
Everybody's a comedian. No, I like the humor. I do. Let's see. Let me put in a couple of numbers here. So you guys went 1 minute 30 with most of it being the build-up by Adam, but then a little better than 30 seconds from Ozzy. So that all worked out very well with your timing. Let's see. So the structure and content I thought was terrific. Again, I liked the humor that you infused. The structure on Adam, on yours, felt a little shaky at first, but then it seemed to solidify as you went on. So I thought the content was really good and relevant to the award. And vocal variety, pretty good. I think both of you could have stretched it a little bit, but pretty good vocal variety. So let me shoot you your scores. We'll start with Adam. And then Ozzy. Nice job, guys. Okay, so now we move into our groups of 3, Chelsea, Paige, and Evan. Who's going to be going first from your group? Paige? Okay. Whenever you're ready.
Okay. Our next award goes to someone who fits the guidelines of our company's beliefs. The Community Service Award goes to someone each year who exemplifies our company's mission statement. They must put hours of work into community service and the selflessness of helping others. This year, there were many applicants who met our requirements, but I can confidently say that this year's winner has exceeded all of our expectations and is truly deserving of our award.
This recipient, as a young girl, suffered from a fractured hip, which left her unable to start school on time. As she got older, she entered college, but quickly had to put it on hold to help a sickly father. Afterwards, she managed to be the first in her family to achieve a degree. Because of all these accomplishments, despite the shortcomings she faced, she chose to immerse herself in mission trips for her church, service projects in her communities, and volunteer work wherever was needed. I now present to you the recipient of our Community Service Award, Chelsea Bukowski.
I am completely humbled to be a recipient, as I know there were many other deserving applicants. I'd like to thank this foundation for this amazing award. I am grateful for my past and what it has taught me and will ultimately lead me here today. I will continue to strive to make your foundation proud by always serving my community. My hopes for everyone listening is that you, too, will be encouraged to serve your community as well. Thank you again.
1 minute and 32 seconds. Everybody played their part on the time extremely well. And then that and that. Okay, so structure, content for everyone, very, very good. Good closes and throws. My typical feedback, vocal variety could be a little bit stronger across the board. So just keep that in mind as you're working towards your persuasive speeches, that you want to try to give that a little more emphasis. So let's see, let me shoot out your scores. Oops, what happened there? There we go. So Chelsea, I'll start with you. And then Paige. And Evan. There you go. Good work. Okay, last but not least, Soriana, Ricardo, and Robert. Who's speaking first? Soriana, okay. Go ahead and unmute yourself.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome on our annual meeting. Today we award Best of the Best of National Basketball Association. Today we select the Best Player of the Year. The winner will be honored the Most Valuable Player Award. And now Ricardo will tell us more about the winner.
Thank you, Zoriana. I would like to start off with the fact that this person has been an asset to his team like no other by helping his team reach the finals. This person has come up in a short amount of time to have the highest shooting percentage in all of the NBA. He unanimously has garnered respect and prestige from all his fellow teammates in helping them reach their excellence. Without further ado, class, you know him and he's yours. Ladies and gentlemen, I'd like to present to you Robert Reddington.
Thank you, Ricardo, and I'd like to thank the National Basketball Association for selecting me to be the MVP. I would also like to thank God for giving me the strength and ability to perform at the highest levels. I also like to thank my family and friends for believing in me and helping me, pushing me to achieve my goals. I couldn't have done it without my teammates and coaches as well, driving me every day to be a better player. Without these people inspiring me, I wouldn't have the opportunity to be here today to accept this award. I appreciate the recognition from the fans and the NBA, and I look forward to playing with my team again next season.
Good. So, excuse me, 1 minute and 33 seconds. And again, vocal variety pretty good. Probably could do a little bit better there. Good structure and content across the board. Let me just change something here. There we go, that's right. And your time at 1:33 comes mostly towards the acceptance speech that brought you all to the final point that you needed to be. Both of the introductions fell a little bit short of that 30-second mark, but Robert kind of made up for that, so that's good. Yeah, the content, Zoriana, on yours, I loved your vocal variety and your structure was very good, but I felt you could have had a little more content in there. It's probably one of the reasons why you fell short by a little more than 5 seconds. So let me shoot out your scores. So Zoriana, we'll start with you. And then Ricardo. And Robert. There we go. Nice work. Okay, so team persuasive speech. So I already showed you the rubric. I also just want to give you a reminder that it is a research-based speech. You need to have 3 verifiable sources. There are a couple, I forget if it was in this class or another class, where the sources seemed a little too commercial, and I suggested the use of the academic databases to get at least one better source. So just be aware of that. Anybody have any questions on the persuasive speech?
Just a quick question.
Sure.
What is the question? Does it matter how we break it up amongst the different speakers? I know we have to go. Okay.
Yes, you do want to try to make the speaking length about the same for each speaker.
But does it matter if people jump back in or kind of tag team?
No, you can organize it however you want. So if someone handles like the introduction and then someone picks up the body and then the next person does another part of the body in the conclusion, or you tag team the whole thing, that's totally up to you. Totally up to you. I've had people where one person does the introduction and another person does the conclusion, but they all, as you put it, tag team through the body. So that's perfectly fine, as long as everybody has a fairly equal amount of time speaking. Okay.
So as far as the Monroe's motivation sequence goes in this speech, the introduction technically attacks what parts of that, and then what parts does the body technically usually attack in that part of the sequences?
I'm sorry, repeat that question.
Yeah, I wasn't sure if that came through clear. So in Monroe's motivational sequence,
Right.
there's 5 parts to that, I believe.
Mhm.
And I guess the question is that the introduction should kind of tackle what the first 2 parts of that?
Yes.
Okay. And then the rest is through the body and conclusion then.
Right.
Okay. All right.
Right. That last step of a call to action is integrated into your conclusion, and the other steps about satisfaction and visualization is part of the body.
Okay.
Okay. And remember, you only really want to look at Monroe's motivated sequence if you're really looking for something where you want people to take immediate action. Okay, that's what it's tailor-made for. Pardon my looking away here. I just want to make sure I save that. Those grades.
Sorry.
Okay, go ahead.
Although it's tailor-made for taking immediate action, can it be used for not
for just passive agreement?
Passive agreement, right.
I would say review some of the other strategies to see if they're more appropriate. Monroe's motivated sequence really is made for something that in the end you're going to say, do this now.
In general, could be thought of that establishing a need and satisfying a need is kind of within the realm of a persuasive.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah, so
it's still part of making a persuasive argument. Yeah.
Right. So it can be kind of adjusted. Okay, I get it.
Okay.
Does every person in the group have to have a visual aid?
No. The visual aid is one of those things that counts towards the team as a whole. You may decide, and that's one of the reasons why I like you practicing in Zoom, you may decide that while one person's speaking, somebody else is providing the visual aid for that person's part of the speech. So if Chelsea, if you were speaking and your teammate wasn't, then maybe they're providing the visual aids for your part of the speech, and then you're providing the visual aids for their part of the speech. Okay, that's something that you kind of need to work out strategically on what's going to work best, as opposed to someone trying to speak and manipulate their visual aids at the same time. And the last thing you want to do, and we'll see a video about this a little bit later, is putting everything you're going to say on your slides. That's that's mistakes 101, right, for PowerPoint. Any other questions about that? Okay. So I want to take a look at a couple of things. What I'm going to do is ask you to look at a few videos. I'm just going to push links out to you through the chat. So have your chat window open, and you'll just be able to click on the links and watch the videos on YouTube. So to look at some persuasive messages in advertising, what I've decided to do is to pull from political advertising. This does not reflect my views in any way, shape, or form. They come from both sides of the aisle, and frankly, it's too old to be my opinion on anything, because I'm going back to it was 2012, the election between Barack Obama and what was his name? Gosh, all of a sudden I can't remember his name. Yes, Mitt Romney. Thank you, Mitt Romney. And also I also pulled a couple of things from the primaries of that year. So there's a couple of things from Ron Paul on there, back before Rand Paul was the guy everybody looked to. His father was running for president. So let me just start off with this one. Let me push this link out to you. It's only a 30-second spot. So watch that. You don't have to mute your video or anything. Just go ahead and watch it. And then we'll talk again in about 35 seconds. Okay, everybody finished? All right, so what did the Obama campaign do there with that commercial?
Made him seem like the bad guy.
Made who seem like the bad guy?
Mitt Romney.
Mitt Romney? Okay. I think they tried to single him out in a way, not necessarily as a bad guy. What are they, how are they painting Mitt Romney?
I think they were trying to show him as a joke.
They're trying to show him as a joke?
Yeah,
Okay.
like they took his credibility away by throwing such like a humorous argument towards him, I guess. I don't know.
Yeah, they used humor, satirical humor, okay? And, you know, I can only imagine how Obama's campaign managers must have felt when this, what's the word I'm looking for, debate happened, and they got Mitt Romney to talk about, first of all, to say Big Bird, and second of all, to talk about his cutting funding to PBS, because you know a lot of conservatives think that PBS is very left-leaning, and they want to stop the government funding for it. So Mitt Romney voiced that, and this is the year you know we have all these Wall Street financial scandals that are really you know big news, and he's talking about Sesame Street. So they simplify the message by wrapping up PBS as its most recognizable brand, which is Sesame Street, and they're making fun of him, basically making him seem out of touch. Like this is not an issue, and they're making it seem like it's Mitt Romney's big issue, which it probably wasn't, but that's how they're painting the picture, and they're doing it with good humor. So the next spot I'm gonna ask you to watch is purely as a reference. I'm sure we've all seen car commercials on videos, on YouTube, on television. So I just want to show you one particular one. This is going to be a reference for the next piece I'm going to ask you to look at. So let me put that link in here. Take a look at this. It's just another 30-second spot.
I'm really glad you sent this video in
Right.
because my freshman year at college, I did like a whole research paper
Mm-hmm.
about like an advertiser's techniques and like their goals in trying to persuade a viewer to like
Right.
buy a Ford truck over a Chevy truck, because at that time Ford just unveiled their new aluminum bed trucks, which were viewed upon as like weak, and traditionally trucks are made out of steel, or their beds are at least, and that's what Chevy was sticking with. And so I like did like a whole paper on Chevy versus Ford trucks.
Interesting. Did you see the revealing video about how Chevy doctored those things to make their point about Ford aluminum beds?
Yeah, I watched a lot of it. It was
Yeah.
interesting how they really manipulated some of that. But
Right. So what's Ford appealing to in this particular kind of commercial?
Appealing to
Men.
a target audience, masculinity, that type of thing with the workforce, workman,
Okay.
you know.
Okay. Chelsea, you were going to say?
Similar to what Adam just said, I know it's triggered towards men because it even said "you guys," and
Right.
obviously, I mean, I'm not offended by that, but it sounds like it was more aimed for men than women.
Yeah, in this particular style ad, they're not talking about the style of the truck, the luxury of the truck, even though all that's there. They're talking about how hard the truck works. They're looking for people who have they're targeting a demographic of men that have to use their trucks for work. And they're taking that tough guy attitude, and they have a unique, I mean, this was a unique visual style at the time. It was brand new, and mixing the live action with animation and mixing in all the animated words in to reinforce the voiceover and the overall message. Okay, so then Enter Ron Paul, whose campaign must have also been awfully enamored with this particular style. Take a look. Okay. Reactions on that style of commercial for a politician?
It's like the truck.
Yeah, the
I
truck
found-
rolling by. That's how Ron Paul rolls. I don't know if that type of phrase is even in Ron Paul's vocabulary. What else?
Even though there might not be the mention of guys or stereotyping who they're reaching out to, it still seems like they're going for a target audience, and using the same type of testosterone-based masculinity style commercials. So that same type of audience that's intrigued by the F-150 commercial would be intrigued by that.
Yeah, absolutely. And at least that's what they're hoping. And you can look at the wording they're using too, the big dogs with the big bark versus whimpering like little Shih Tzus, a very masculine, very macho type of image with that. I don't know how truly effective this ad was for Ron Paul. I would love to see those statistics on how this spot tested, because they usually use these on test markets, and if it drew in the audience they were looking for. I just found it damn funny that someone would use it's nice to see politicians not slinging mud at each other, but to pat on yourself after a car commercial, I don't know. I just, as someone who spent years in advertising, I wasn't sure I was buying into that particular strategy. So we can use humor. I think that uses humor a little bit, with the whimpering Shih Tzus and the truck rolling by and all that. I think they're trying to take a light approach to it. But in addition to humor, we can also use drama. When you think about how you combine the visuals, right? And the Ron Paul was one step in this direction, right? Combining unusual visuals with the message and a voiceover with a particular type of inflection or vocal strength, to have something that integrates graphics with music, with this particular inflection to the voice, can be very, very powerful. So take a look. This one's longer, but take a look at this one as far as trying to create drama or a sense of, well, let me just leave it at that, and we'll talk about it afterwards. Here you go. Reactions?
The music kind of reminded me of the Netflix show House of Cards, very dramatic and presidential sounding, but
Okay.
it was very wordy and you almost forgot what you were even listening to.
Okay. Anybody else? I think it's wordy on purpose, especially considering we're looking at nothing but the words, for it to make its point.
I thought they did. I mean, I agree 100% with everything that Chelsea just said too. But the one thing I will say is I thought they did a good job at throwing in subliminal messages with the Obama O in the visual part of it.
Yeah, there's when they talk about strategic interests, the I is an oil pump. Okay, when they talk about the leader who changes his mind, the O is the Obama logo O. So yeah, really subtle messages that are, well, really not so subtle if you're paying attention, and made at very strategic times. So what I want you to get out of this is not really about the message of this spot, it's about the coordination that they do. The type of music, the imagery. I'm really glad Adam brought that up. The imagery that's up at very particular times during the narration, and the vocal variety, the vocal inflection, and how it changes and becomes more intense as the presentation goes on. All of those are key ingredients to make us feel a little tense or you know, whatever this commercial's goal is, to bring us a little bit more on the edge about this particular issue. So think about that as you're crafting your persuasive messages. What am I coordinating with? Am I getting a visual that just kind of backs it up, or am I making a visual that really helps reinforce the point? How is my voice supposed to be at this point? Am I just communicating, or do I need to sound softer or stronger, more empathetic or more tense? Think about all those specific ingredients as you put together your persuasive speech. Okay, so one more word about visual aids and some issues about PowerPoint, because I'm assuming most of you are going to use some sort of slide presentation or PowerPoint itself. So I just wanted to share this one video with you. It's just about 4 minutes long. I hope you get something out of it. Go ahead and take a look at that. So a few PowerPoint tips for you. Glad to see there's some smiles out there. I like to think it's pretty funny, but a lot of everything he says is true, which is one of the things that makes it so funny. So with that, I will stop the recording.